की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि ओम। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामिनिति नामिने। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So we are continuing to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 24, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Text 62. Please repeat after me. Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashattirtavare Sakrit Shrotra Anjalihi Upasprishyam Dhunute Karmavasanam Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirtavare Sakrit Shrotranjalir Upasprishyam Dhunute Karmavasanam Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirtavare Sakrit Shrotranjalir Upasprishyam Dhunute Karmavasanam Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirtavare Sakrit Shrotranjalir Upasprishyam Dhunute Karmavasanam. Anyone else? Mataji's? Anjalir Upasprishyam Dhunute Karmavasanam. Yasmin. In the history of the transcendental activities of Krishna upon the surface of the earth, Satkarna Piyushe, who pleases the demands of the transcendental purified ears, Tirtavare, keeping oneself in the best of holy places by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Sakrit, once only, immediately, Shrotra Anjalihi, in the form of hearing the transcendental message. Upasprishya, touching, exactly like the water of the Ganges. Dhunute, destroys. Karmavasanam, the strong desire for fruitive activities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation: simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. Purport: when the devotees orally receive the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enacted in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve a transcendental vision in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Thus, they achieve freedom from the material world. For sense gratification, practically everyone is engaged in materialistic activities which prolong the process of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age and disease. But the devotee, simply by hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and further relishing the narrations of the Srimad Bhagavatam, becomes so pure that he no longer takes interest in materialistic activities. At the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness and becoming uninterested in materialistic activities, and therefore people are trying to oppose this movement. But they cannot possibly check this movement or stop the activities of the devotees in Europe and America by their artificial impositions. Here the words Shrotranjalir Upasprishya indicate that simply by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, the devotees become so pure that they are immediately immune to the contamination of materialistic fruitive activities. Anyabhilashita shunyam. Materialistic activities are unnecessary for the soul, and therefore the devotees are freed from such activities. The devotees are situated in liberation, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, and therefore they cannot be called back to their material homes and materialistic activities. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swaminiti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yasmin Satkarna Piyushe Yashastirtha Vare Sakrit Shrotranjalir Upasprishya Dhunute Karmavasanam. Simply by receiving the glories of the Lord through purified transcendental ears, the devotees of the Lord are immediately freed from strong material desires and engagement in fruitive activities. So we have seen in the last few verses, Ramkumar Prabhu yesterday very nicely put into place what is the context of this chapter and what are the series of verses that we are dealing with getting to hear about the names of the various personalities who are part of a great lineage And the names of those great personalities were given here to come to the Samam Bonam, that Lord Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna, is going to appear in that lineage. So that is what we heard. And also, as the Acharyas were pointing out, how Shukadeva Goswami went on glorifying Krishna, his appearance, how mercifully he descends, his very appearance in this material world is showering of his mercy. In fact, the material creation itself is to help the conditioned souls bring them back home, back to God. That is also his mercy. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary also is pointing out that how those verses up to verse number 60 are verses which explains about the Lord's appearance and his merciful nature for those who are present at that time personally. And as we heard yesterday's verse, for the future devotees' appearance, to save them from the conditioning, the Lord, although externally he has left this world, this material world, but still the Lord remains with his devotees in the form of his instructions, his holy name that we heard. So for the future devotees, this Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and the holy name and the Lord is there with his devotees. That's what we heard yesterday. And now in today's verse, we see here Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out how we can be in touch with the Lord, how we can get the mercy of the Lord, or how we can constantly associate with the Lord. That is what is being discussed in today's verse. And this today's verse very much, as the Bhagavatam time and again repeats itself, it very clearly points out the powerful process of this Bhakti Yoga. Or to even put it in a nutshell, the very powerful process of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what is being pointed out in today's verse. And we can see here Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out that one should hear this message about the glories of the Lord's appearance, his various activities, his interaction with his devotees, his killing of the demons, his imparting of the transcendental knowledge, and whatever the Lord has done, one should hear those instructions with rapt attention. So he speaks about Satkarna Piyushe. He says that one should hear with the purified ears, he is speaking. Yeah, the moment one comes in contact with devotees and the process of Krishna consciousness, naturally the ears become purified. Because somebody may question, my ears are contaminated now, what do I do? Don't worry, just come, sit and hear. Sit and hear from bona fide devotees. Then the purification process begins. As we heard yesterday, the more we hear, the more we get purified. The more we are purified, the knowledge gradually unfolds, or the philosophical conclusions unfolds. And that was a nice point that was discussed yesterday, that we read the Bhagavad Gita or the Bhagavatam or any spiritual literature for that matter for the first time. Maybe we get some idea or we are clueless in the beginning. Then by the mercy of devotee, we are gradually engaged in the process of devotional service. Of that, Shravanam is the process, is one of the process. We hear and then we engage in the service of the Lord in various ways. The Navavida Bhakti is there. So we engage in various services. Then what happens? The process of purification takes place. Cheto Dharpana Marjanam. The heart becomes purified. When the heart becomes purified, then gradually we are able to see things in right place. No? Like you have some, let's say you have some glasses which is full of dust. If you try to wear that glass and try to see something, hardly you'll be able to see anything. But then when the cleansing process starts, then everything becomes very clear. You are able to see things in proper perspective. So here, so that point is being made here by Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out that Satkarna Piyushe, the purified ears, the demands of the purified ears is to hear the transcendental subject matter. So you hear the transcendental subject matter. That will be pleasing to the ears. And he further points out that Yashatirtha Vare, keeping oneself in the best of holy places by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord. So when I just saw this particular line, we can also think that some of that, maybe somebody may think that, oh, I couldn't go to Vrindavan, I had to be here. But then the holy name, the Vrindavan, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, everything gets manifested by proper hearing. In fact, everyone has this realization, that you may be right there in Vrindavan, but if your consciousness is not proper, you will not see anything actually. Unless you are there also, if you do not have proper hearing. That's why every day morning we see before going to different places. Krishna's Prabhu was giving classes, everyone was hearing the classes. Then the Dham is revealed actually. Otherwise, everything becomes a mundane vision. We remember we went first time to Vrindavan, and we were hearing Dinabandhu Prabhu explaining about, His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu was explaining about the various places. He was giving the background of the Dham, he was giving the background of the power of Krishna consciousness, how the Lord is. Then gradually we are able to see things. Even whatever neophyte condition we are into, but still the appreciation, we start to appreciate everything. So it's so important to hear. That's why it's always said that Shravanam is the heart of Kirtan. Unless there is proper Shravanam, it becomes very difficult. You can't see things in proper perspective. So further Shukadeva Goswami says, then this particular verse, there are so many verses like this in the Bhagavatam, which points out the glory of the Srimad Bhagavatam, or the transcendental message of Krishna consciousness. Here again you see here, it is being pointed out that Sakrit Shrotranjalihi, it's mentioned here. Sakrit means once. Even once you give proper oral reception. Wow, this is something amazing. Even once you give proper oral reception, Upasprishya. So Upasprishya is, here Prabhupada is translating it as touching. And also in one of the initiation lectures, Sannyas initiation or something, one lecture, Srila Prabhupada is pointing out, he was quoting this verse, Apavitra Pavitrova Sarvavasta Gatopiva. Srila Prabhupada says that, what is this Upasprishya? He says that, you take the water, you sip it, 3 times you taste it. So 3 times he says. But here, when you just see that, Upasprishya, even once, one time, you give oral reception, proper oral reception, then what is the result of it? Dunute karma vasanam. Karma vasanam. The strong desire for fruitive activities is completely vanquished. We may be wondering what to do. We have, every one of us have so many different kinds of material desires. It's just popping up every second. So many ideas are coming, how to enjoy the senses. The mind is giving various ideas. The intelligence is also coming up. Intelligence and mind is working together in tandem, and then coming up with various ideas to enjoy sense gratification. But everything can be kicked out. Everything can be given a big kick simply if we submissively sit and hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is what here Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out. So the glories of the Lord are so powerful. It is reality. These are also not some infatuation or some utopia or some imagination. Krishna is reality. Krishna consciousness is reality. That's the whole point. And Srila Prabhupada, immediately in this purport, when he begins the purport, he points out what a purport he has given me for this verse. He says, Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve a transcendental vision in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Prabhupada points out that when the devotees orally receive the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as enacted in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they immediately achieve a transcendental vision, he says, in which they are no longer interested in materialistic activities. Thus they achieve freedom from the material world. This is really something to think. 2 things. One is, when we give oral reception to the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, what do we get? We get the real vision. The real vision is the transcendental vision. Other visions are not actually visions at all. All other visions bounds us in this material world. Yeah, you see, when His Holiness Bhaktivika Swami Maharaj, in his series of Vishnu Sahasranama lectures, he was in the name of Arka, he was pointing out very amazing realization he had. He was pointing out that the sun is there. Sun has got it gives so many benefits. Because of the sun, our life is sustained. There is vegetation, we get grains, we are able to see things, we are able to see the rivers, the mountains, people around us. No, you can just imagine if you don't have, our eyesight is not there, sunlight is not there, we can't see, we cannot enjoy. But then again, the same, because of the sunlight, we see many things and then we get attracted by that, and that binds us in this material world, isn't it? We want to go to different places, we want to enjoy different things. But the subject matter of, transcendental subject matter of the Bhagavatam, what it does, it cuts our binding to this material world. We get a different vision. There is no need of sunlight for this. You need to get Chakkudan Diloje Janme Janme Prabhu say. We need the mercy of the spiritual master who has this transcendental vision. Prabhupada points out here that immediately they achieve a transcendental vision. So this is the mercy of the pure devotee. Now he instills this Bhakti Lata Beej. When he speaks, when the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada went to the West, when he spoke, actually the mercy was flowing. The transcendental subject matter he spoke. He was leading the Hare Krishna Kirtan, and then he was speaking pure subject of Vasudeva Katha. And as a result, what happened? Immediately, the very tight knot of material attachments, they were cut into pieces. You see, so many people were showing interest. They were coming forward to take up this Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada also in the Bhagavad Gita, he speaks about this vision. Here Prabhupada speaks about transcendental vision. Also he speaks in one of the verses, Prabhupada translates it as vision of eternity. Very nicely he puts it. This is the shloka. It says, Anadhitvan nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. So here Krishna, he points out that what happens when one gets to know about the transcendental subject matter, or when one gets to know about what is matter, what is spirit, what is the difference between matter and spirit, and who is the controller of matter and spirit. When one comes to know about this, what happens? Here Krishna points out that, so they get the vision of eternity. Prabhupada translates it like that. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental. You get the knowledge that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. This is the first knowledge or the first step in Krishna consciousness. For millions and millions of lifetimes we have been identifying ourselves with the body, and we are trying to enjoy ourselves in various bodies. But then when someone comes in touch with the transcendental subject matter of the Gita and the Bhagavatam, he gets to know, hey, you are not this body, you have got nothing to do with this material world, you have got nothing to do with this country, you have got nothing to do with your temporary relationships that you have acquired. You are a spirit soul, you are part and parcel of God, and that God is Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the transcendental knowledge we get. Then our vision completely changes. So that's what Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport. Then one no longer is interested in materialistic activities. That's why many people, they are surprised, they are not able to understand. Hey, what happened to you? He went to the Hare Krishna and then he became crazy. Yeah, what? You get the transcendental subject. You get to know what is reality. So far we have been fooled by so many people. But now we know what is reality. So Prabhupada, I'll just continue with the translation of that Gita verse. So those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. So all this knowledge you get, what is soul, what is body, what is the difference between soul and the body. There is something called three modes of nature, goodness, passion and ignorance. They are binding us. We are covered by that three modes. As a result of it, we are not able to see things in proper perspective. So then Krishna says, Sharirastopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. So then when one gets this transcendental knowledge, you understand that soul doesn't take part in any of these things. He doesn't take part in this material world. So this is the ABC of Krishna consciousness. We need to know we are We don't have anything to do with this material world. And then we get so much, by reading Bhagavad Gita, we get to know that this material world is a temporary place. The relationships are temporary in this material world. And whatever happiness we derive with the contact of the senses with the sense objects, that is also temporary. Yahi samsprushya jabhoga dukkha yoneya evate adhyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Any person who is sober, who is intelligent, will not long to enjoy the senses, to come in contact with the sense objects, because he knows that the pleasure that is derived from this has got a beginning and an end. And again, another important knowledge we get. What is that important knowledge? Life is not just one. Life is going to continue. We are not matter, we are spirit. We are different from matter. So we are going to be born again. The whole subject of reincarnation. We get to know about that. In India, it was just normal that every householder or everyone knows that he is going to be born again. Everybody knows about karma. Of course, with the influence of so many modern theories and modern ideas, and with so many atheists and so-called philosophers. Can you wash your hands? So-called philosophers and so many people, they are completely bombarding with the atheistic theory, isn't it? Atheistic theory, they want to completely ruin this Vedic culture, and they say that we are all just a bunch of chemicals. This is what is the idea they are just projecting on. But by reading Bhagavad Gita, we get to know how we are going to be born again. So if we are going to be born again, then that makes us think, what we have to do in our life. There is something we have to do in our life to get another. We are going to get another body. So be watchful, be careful what you are doing. So we get to know this. And then the effects of karma, we get to know about that. And also further, we hear from proper source of Bhagavad Gita, we also get to know that we are persons and we can develop personal relationships with the Lord. This is again a very important philosophical point in the spiritual life, that the Lord is a person and we can develop personal relationships with the Lord. So all these ideas of the Buddhism and the Mayavadism, everything is finished with the death of this body. There is nothingness. All those things are completely flushed out. It's such a relief also for the soul. Soul by nature is transcendental. Soul wants to have always anandamayo abhyasat. You always want to be happy because the Lord is always happy. Being His part and parcel, we also want to be happy. So all these ideas, then we get to know that we are bound in this material world. You see in this verse, another important point is being mentioned here, that one actually gets freedom when he doesn't indulge in sense gratification. When the senses are controlled, when the senses are not indulged in sense gratification, actually that is freedom for the soul. We will see in the rest of the further in the purport. Prabhupada points out in the line, he says that this material body is an artificial imposition of the soul, or the very materialistic life is an artificial imposition of the soul. There is no need of materialistic life at all, because the soul has got nothing to do with matter. So we see by hearing this transcendental subject matter of Krishna consciousness, all this idea of free thinking, we have to be free, we have to do whatever that we want to do, all those ideas are kicked out. So as a result, as Srila Prabhupada points out here, the person who takes up to this process of Krishna consciousness, a beginner, also doesn't want to engage in any kinds of materialistic activities. So it is not surprising that all the time we have problems from relatives, we have problems from our friends, we have problems from our neighbors when we take up to Krishna consciousness. So don't be surprised. In fact, we can be sometimes surprised when there is no opposition, isn't it? When there is no opposition, everything is fine, everybody is okay, we are very nice. But when there is an opposition, that we can understand that really people are taking this very seriously. Oh, be careful, don't go to these Hare Krishnas. Then you will be completely a gone case. You will be a mad person. That's what Prabhupada is pointing out here. And Srila Prabhupada further in the purport, he goes on to explain, for sense gratification, practically everyone is engaged in materialistic activities which prolong the process of janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, birth, death, old age and disease. But the devotee, simply by hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita and further relishing the narrations of the Srimad Bhagavatam, becomes so pure that he no longer takes interest in materialistic activities. So that's what happens. So because we know, practically we see why we have to take up to Krishna consciousness. You see practically what is happening in this material world. Simply the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. And one gets this vision when he comes to reality. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. A sadhu sees this. Hey, what you're seeing? Oh, very nice T20 cricket match, football, soccer World Cup is going on, or this drama, this serial, this new TV show, a new film is released, the latest smartphone with 3 cameras, so many things different people are seeing. But a sadhu, a person who has even slightly the Krishna consciousness is provoked in him, he sees, oh, everywhere Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. This is what he sees. He's able to see. And as a result, he is working to take up to this process of Krishna consciousness, because by the process of Krishna consciousness, one can come out of this condition. That's what Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport. And now, further in the purport, Prabhupada takes it little further. He points out that at the moment, devotees in the Western countries are being attracted by Krishna consciousness and becoming uninterested in materialistic activities. And therefore, people are trying to oppose this movement. But they cannot possibly check this movement or stop the activities of devotees in Europe and America by their artificial impositions. Why Srila Prabhupada is writing this, I was just thinking, if you see, when Srila Prabhupada was giving commentary to the Srimad Bhagavatam, many times you can see in the Bhagavatam commentaries, sometimes when he makes the point, sometimes there will be some hot issues going on at the time. And if there is a verse which has got a relevance, immediately he will connect to it. This is the time, this was written in 1976, almost in the November month. That's the time where the Hare Krishna movement in the US was very widely, it was spreading in Europe and America. The Krishna consciousness movement was spreading very much. And there were obviously, when the movement spreads, it becomes a threat to so many people. People were able to see the weight of this movement. So many people are taking up to Krishna consciousness. We know there are many hippies who have joined the movement, and many youngsters were attracted. They just left the home. Young boys and young girls. They were not able to understand what is going on here. Why so many people are just going on. You remember that there was one, when Srila Prabhupada was going in a flight, there was a father who was asking Srila Prabhupada, we see so many of the youngsters are joining your movement. He was saying, Srila Prabhupada was able to acknowledge, you say that yes, we are teaching, we are giving the real knowledge, real Krishna consciousness. And this father was able to, they are not coming to the church, they are not coming and then doing any worship there. But we see many bright-faced young boys and girls are joining the movement. That's a fact, because Krishna consciousness is working. Those who took up to the process of Krishna consciousness, who started chanting Hare Krishna, who started hearing the Gita, they started honoring prasadam. What was the result of it? They were giving up all the sinful activities. As the verse says, Dunoti karma nashanam. So the effect of Krishna consciousness on a person is that immediately kleshagni, immediately one gives up all sufferings. I mean the sufferings, one gets sufferings by engaging in sinful activities. All kinds of sense gratification leads to suffering. So eating meat, engaging in gambling, engaging in illicit sex, intoxication, all those things are artificial imposition on the soul. There is no need of any of these activities. So here, exactly that's the time Srila Prabhupada wrote this in this purport. He is pointing out that that our movement is being opposed in the West. And also we can understand that when the movement is very solid and when it has got a real weight and it is really creating some revolution in society, definitely there will be opposition. And so this is the work of the demons. And I'm sure many of you read the Prabhupada Leelamrita, and those who have read the Transcendental Diary. I was just trying to do some reference in the Transcendental Diary. His Grace Hari Shauri Prabhu was pointing out that during this time, that the famous thing, what happened in the movement, there were many parents of some of the devotees who joined the Hare Krishna movement. They clubbed together and they hired some deprogrammers, and then some of the devotees were kidnapped. They were kidnapped, and then they were taken to some hotel or some far off place, and then they were forced to eat meat. They were forced to drink, and then they used to tear Krishna book, tear Prabhupada's books, and then they were trying to create some kind of hatredness towards this process of Krishna consciousness. So like that, the deprogrammers were trying to make them forget by speaking so many things. So like that they were trying. So there is also, if you read, there is a devotee by name Vasu Gopal, he was a Prabhupada disciple. He was taken away like that. So they did all these things to him. And at one point of time, this devotee thought that, so the best way for me to get out is simply try to accept whatever there is. Yes, what you are saying is correct. Let me give up this Krishna consciousness. So like that, he kind of went with them actually. He went with them, and literally little bit he lost. He got out of, he was like that. It was happening for 3 weeks or 1 month. They were doing deprogramming, and then they saw that, okay, this fellow is completely now out of this issue. So they let him go. So that was his idea also, but little bit he also got lost, because they were, they used to give injections, so many things they were doing, torture they did for devotees. So he came out, and then he was moving towards some airport, and then we see devotees everywhere moving around distributing books. The moment he saw Krishna book, hey, he immediately remembered, here are the devotees. Please, I want to go to the temple. So they took him to the temple. Then, he was very bold. At the time, devotees were so fearless. They were having such faith in the holy name. They were having so much faith on Prabhupada. So they were Adi Keshava Swami. Yeah, it was Adi Keshava Swami, who was a TP. I'm not sure New York or which temple. So they brought him there, and then they really felt very painful that how devotees were tortured. There was also one other Mataji, I forgot her name. She was also a very young girl. She was also like that. They took her out, but they tried so much to make her forget Krishna consciousness, but it was not possible. Already she was infected. The Prabhupada used to say, it's an infection, it's a contagious disease. And then you get it, and then you give this disease to others. But it's very good. This particular Krishna consciousness, when it spreads, it's very good. It's not like corona or other disease. This is very good. So this we want to become contagious. We want to get infected by this process of Krishna consciousness. So all this deprogramming they were doing, and then they this came out of it. Then what happened? Then the devotees, they tried to, so much politics was going on. They went to the jury. They said that this parents of many of the devotees were trying to file a case that ISKCON is a cult, and they are forcefully brainwashing young boys and girls, and they are trying to take them out, and so they wanted to ban this religious institution. They were forming it as a cult, and in fact they should not collect any donations. It should not be a non-profitable organization. They went on to such an extent, and also there are also other demons who are combining, because they were very much scared that Hare Krishna movement is just going to take over the entire world. This was the fear they had. And later we see that you know what happened. That the devotees, when Srila Prabhupada came to know about it in Vrindavan, he called all the local pandits, other scholars, and everyone. They say that, you see, there's a great threat for our movement. So you all do give petition about the books, about the real qualities of these devotees. So Prabhupada was requesting many devotees. Wherever he went, he was speaking like this. And then he instructed Tamal Krishna Maharaj, Harikesh Swami, and then few other devotees who were actually fighting against this deprogrammers and others who were against the movement. And in the Transcendental Diary, I found a small conversation between Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Prabhupada, which was very interesting. How bold was devotees at that time, that they were so much ready to give themselves to Krishna and face any of the difficulties. I'll just read one portion of it, which shows how much impact it had, why Prabhupada was also quoting this in this. This is a letter Tamal Krishna Maharaj wrote to Prabhupada. This is just a small portion of it. Despite these many difficulties, however, Tamal Krishna Maharaj's tone was upbeat, and he is not daunted by the challenge. So he's saying that so many difficulties devotees are facing, but they never thought that we should give up. No, let us be on a silent note. Let's not anymore go out on the streets and do Harinam, or let's stop the process of Krishna consciousness. It's really creating so much commotion that it was never that mood. He's not daunted by the challenge. On the contrary, he sees that the whole affair is advancing Srila Prabhupada's movement. You see the vision, what is our vision here? In the long run, I would have to say that this is all the arrangement of the Supreme Lord Krishna, who wished for his movement to become prominent and established. This whole affair is forcing us to become most serious and conscientious to secure our movement permanently as an established fact in society. Furthermore, this affair is encouraging influential men of distinction, especially professors, doctors, and others, to raise up their voices and declare our Krishna consciousness movement is bona fide and good for humanity. Therefore, we have to see it as the will of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all of this is happening, and because it is his desire, we are certain of victory. This does not mean that we shall sit idly by waiting for the Lord to protect us. See, the mood not there. Rather, we shall fight on his behalf and defend our movement from all demoniac attacks. Krishna has declared it in the Bhagavad Gita. Shiprang bhavati dharmatma shashvat chantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktaf pranashyati. So he wrote a whole summary of what is happening in the US to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada's response was also very amazing. I'm just, again, a small synopsis I'm just taking from the letter Srila Prabhupada wrote. Srila Prabhupada reacted enthusiastically. Harishwari Prabhu is writing. He is fired with determination and resolute conviction. It is going to be a fight, and he relishes the opportunity to stand for Krishna against the demons. Seeing all the news clippings saying Krishna this and Krishna that, he takes it as very good that Krishna's name is being advertised so much and dictated a long reply to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, first giving pointers that his men can use in our defense. Here is Prabhupada's letter. Please accept my blessings. I am in receipt of your letter dated 22/10/1976 along with pictures and news clippings. Regarding the point about whether our movement is bona fide, you can use the following arguments. Bhagavad Gita has got so many editions. Our books are older than the Bible. In India, there are millions of Krishna temples. Let the judges and juries read our books and take the opinion of learned scholars and professors. Regarding the second point about the parents' jurisdiction over their children, here are some suggestions. Do the parents like that their children become hippies? Why don't they stop it? Do the parents like their children to become involved in prostitution and intoxication? Why don't they stop this? When the government takes children for the draft, neither the parents nor the children like it. This question should be raised. There are so many men over 30. Are they brainwashed? It may be a minority in your country, but in other places it is a majority. The diamond seller caters to a minority. So Prabhupada says that we are like diamond sellers. Why are they allowed to sell? Always when there is something valuable, only a minority will be able to purchase. Prabhupada wrote this because they want to stop the book distribution also. By distributing these books, they are trying to create impact among the people. Our books are not commercial. They are religion and philosophy. Srila Prabhupada stated his defense against any attempt to stop this movement. Strongly affirming his disciples' intentions to fight any attempts to limit our preaching, he declared boldly, they are now feeling the weight of this movement. Formerly they thought these people come and go, but now they see we are staying. Now we have set fire. It will go on. It cannot be stopped. You can bring big fire brigades, but the fire will act. The brainwashed books are already there. Even if they stop externally, internally it will go on. Our first class campaign is book distribution. Go house to house. The real fighting is now. Krishna will give you all protection. It's also an inspiration. This marathon is coming up. We have to distribute books. Not only marathon, all the time. So chant Hare Krishna and fight. One movie expert has opined there are many ideas in our movement. Try to get ideas into movies. Prabhupada, one movie, director or producer, whatever, he saw that there are so many nice ideas in this Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada said that, yeah, use these ideas, make some movies, spread out this Krishna consciousness movement. So the paragraph that I read may be a little bit, you may think that why we are doing this. Because Prabhupada is pointing out in this purport that our movement has got opposition. This is the whole scenario. That's why Prabhupada wrote this in this purport. That that the demons are against this bona fide religion. Then later, you know what happened, no? Then Prabhupada was very much pushing. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj and others, they filed a case. And in fact, what the juries they did, they did not even want to hear. When you have a jury, then you have to hear both sides of the story, right? You have to hear from the parents' complaint. You have to hear from our movement, whomsoever are representatives. You have to hear. But there are so much politics, they did not want it. They only heard the parents' side, and then they didn't want to hear from the devotees. Then later again, so as Prabhupada suggested, the books, all the books that was printed was presented in the court. So the judge took his time. It went on for in 2 months or 3 months, the results was announced. They went on, they studied all the books of Prabhupada, and then they realized that this is not something, some kind of a, what do you call, a cult or some kind of a mythology or something. This is a very bona fide religion which is being practiced for so many years. Historically, it has got a great significance. Then ISKCON was declared as a bona fide religion. So it was a great success. Prabhupada used to talk about it wherever after that results was announced. So that was a great victory for devotees. So that's the little background of it. So coming back to the purport, again in this verse, so what is the point? The point is that a great stress is given for hearing this message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Again in the Bhagavatam there are so many verses which points out the importance of hearing. Now in the first canto, 7th chapter, there are 4 verses which sums up the whole philosophy of what Vyasadeva was trying to say. So those are important verses. I would like to remind about that. And we will see how Vyasadeva is pointing out that the process of hearing about Krishna is the most important aspect of it. We have so many examples like this, how devotees who could, when they came in touch with Krishna consciousness, so much they were affected by Krishna consciousness. Even when they were forced and kicked out by the relatives or by demons or whomsoever they were, they somehow or other came back to Krishna consciousness when there was a little memory that was triggered to take up Krishna consciousness. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is pointing out, here the words Shrotranjalir Upasprishya indicate that simply by hearing the transcendental activities of the Lord, the devotees become so pure that they are immediately immune to the contamination of materialistic fruitive activities. The devotees, Prabhupada concludes the purport that Anyabhilashita Shunyam, he points out that. Then he says the devotees are situated in liberation, therefore they cannot be called back to their material homes and materialistic activities. Now, as we explained now, in the when Shukadeva Goswami, when Vyasadeva heard from Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, after hearing instructions from Narada Muni about when Narada Muni pushed him to write the Srimad Bhagavatam, so Vyasadeva went on meditating and then he spoke some of the verses that are mentioned in the Bhagavatam. It says, Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Male Apashyat Purnam Purusham Purnam Mayam Chatad Apashrayam. So Vyasadeva, upon meditation, he saw. Thus he fixed his mind perfectly, engaging it by linking it in devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, without any tinge of materialism. And thus he saw the Supreme Personality of Absolute Personality of Godhead along with his external energy, which was under full control. So upon meditation, by the mercy of Narada Muni, he was able to see the Supreme Lord. Behind him, he could see Maya. Then he says, Yaya sammohita jiva atmanam trigunatmakam patropi manutenartam tatkrutam chapi padhyate. So then, again, the philosophy is explained here that, so all the Yaya sammohita jiva, all the jivas, due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material misery. So simple point, that why are we suffering in this material world? Because we associate ourselves with the matter. We want to lord over the matter. So this also Vyasadeva is pointing out here. This is the disease. This is the problem. So here he pointed out what is the disease, what is the problem. Now he comes up with the solution also. Anartho upashamam sakshad bhakti yogam adokshaje lokasya janato vidvans chakre sattva samhita. So here he gives the introduction about the Bhagavatam. He says that, so what is the situation? The material miseries of the living entity which are superfluous to him. Prabhupada translates superfluous. It has got nothing to do, we have got nothing to do with this material world, material miseries. We are falsely identifying with that. Can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned Vyasadeva compiled this Vedic literature, which is in relation to the supreme absolute truth. Now this famous verse, he concludes saying that, so therefore, simply give oral reception, as this particular verse that we are reading today is being pointed out. Again and again, so many verses are there in the Bhagavatam. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhaktir Utpadhyate Pumsa Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. So what is the result of giving oral reception to this Bhagavatam? Simply by once giving oral reception to the Vedic literature, the feeling for loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sprouts up at once to extinguish the fire of lamentation. See again, here also, immediately it said, at once, sakrit, that word is used in today's verse. It's here Prabhupada translated, at once, immediately, one fire of lamentation, illusion and fearfulness is vanquished. This is a powerful fire extinguisher. Chanting the holy name, hearing the Bhagavatam. So this is the whole point here. Now, so again the importance of the hearing is being mentioned here. And I would like to point out few more verses. There are several verses, few other verses which again gives the importance of hearing Bhagavatam. We can't imagine what Srila Prabhupada has given us. Srila Prabhupada has given us a whole process of Mangalarati, Japa, worshipping the Tulasi, dressing the deities, serving the deities. Every day morning he has instituted the Bhagavatam class. What a great fortune we have. We can't even imagine this. It has all got a solid philosophical background for Prabhupada's implementation of this whole entire program. Morning also we have Harikatha, evening also we have Harikatha. Morning we hear the holy name, evening we hear the holy name. We are very strongly protected. So there is no way we can go back to the materialistic activities unless we voluntarily try to go and then play with fire. That means what? We try to give up this process and try to hear non-Krishna conscious topics, try to engage in sense gratification. Otherwise we are very nicely protected. Our consciousness will always be elevated. Okay. Now this is again another famous verse in the Bhagavatam which again points out hearing the Bhagavatam. Shrinmata Shraddhaya Nityam Granata Swacheshtitam Kalena Nati Dhirgena Bhagavan Vishate Hridihi. Again the process is being mentioned here. Persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and are always taking the matter very seriously will have the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, manifested in their hearts within a short time. So it is a question of faith, how much we have faith in the words of, as we heard yesterday, Ramgopal was explaining, that Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharman Parityajya Manmana Bhava Madbhakto, so many verses which gives us the faith that simply have faith in Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and it works. The system works. We should have patience, we should have determination, we should have enthusiasm, and it works. So then, again, these two verses are this verse that we heard, that how by sincerely giving oral reception to the Bhagavatam, it kindles our faith and we will be able to see Krishna face to face. Then again, the glory of hearing is being further expanded in the next verse. Pravishta karna randrena swanang bhava saroruham dunoti shamalam Krishna. The word dunoti is also, duno is mentioned here. Again here, dunoti shamalam Krishna salilasya yatasarat. So here, Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out the sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of the self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, and thus cleanses the dust of material association, such as lust, anger and hankering. Thus it acts like autumnal rains upon ponds of muddy water. So this is the effect of hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the same series of section, one chapter before this, again another verse which also, again Krishna, again the Bhagavatam is very, very clearly pointing out this entire chapter, that 24th chapter that we are hearing, is to bring to the point that we have to hear about Krishna, his janma, his activities, dharma karma chame divyam, evam yoveti tattvataha. In truth, we have to, in clear understanding, we have to hear about this. This is the solution for the conditioned souls of this material world. Mayam varnayato mushya Ishwarasyanumodataha Shrinvata Shraddhaya Nityam. This is on the just a previous chapter from the second canto, 7th chapter. It is being pointed out that Maya Yatma na bhugyati. The Lord's activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated, and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. This is again a very important point. Not just whimsically you hear from anyone, any Tom, Dick, and Harry. No, from the pure devotees coming in parampara, we have to hear. Then what happens? If this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord. So much assurance the Bhagavatam is giving, Srila Prabhupada is giving, the Acharyas are giving. So why we are not able to make progress? Why we are not taking up this message seriously? That is the question mark. So we need to apply ourselves. That's the whole point. You know, when we were in Govardhan, we were again and again hearing, we heard from Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, we heard from His Grace Mukunda Datta Prabhu. He also was pointing out again and again that this process of hearing is not just some one day activity or some festival we do. It is a day in and day out, every day commitment. That's what we need to do. At least by speaking like this, I'm forced to read Prabhupada books. And I'm forced to, otherwise we become a hypocrite, isn't it? I just say someone something and I don't follow. So somehow or other we need to, that's why we should be in fire. We should always be preaching. We should be preaching to others. That will help us to follow. So we should give priority for hearing Bhagavatam. We should give priority for practicing Krishna consciousness. No, I have something urgent. I have to go and then buy something from the shop now. You know, why don't you come for darshan? Why don't you come for darshan? Why don't you come for Bhagavatam class? No, I need to buy something from the shop. I need to do this. Well, sometimes there could be some urgent issue, but you have to mold your life in such a way that whatever is the necessities for house and other things, plan it in such a way that you can do it in some other time. Don't compromise to try to come for programs. Because what is a shelter for us? What is a hope for us? Association with the devotees, coming for the program, hearing the Bhagavatam in association of devotees, reading, hearing, and preaching. And then we get conviction. I read those letters of Tamal Krishna Maharaj and other things, how they were so bold, how they were so fearless. It's unimaginable because they were getting that fearlessness from the practice of Krishna consciousness. On one hand, Prabhupada has given instructions, but unless we follow and practice, nobody can help us. Prabhupada has given this very powerful process, but it's up to us to take it up. So, this is one point. And just one other point, I just want to, 2 points I have to relate. It's taking a little time, but I'll just complete it. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur on this verse, giving commentary on this verse, he points out like this. He says that, if you see in the previous verse, there is a word that is being used called supunya. In the previous Bhagavatam verse to the current verse that we are reading, that this process is supunya. So he takes it further, he raises a question. So that means that by hearing about the Lord, one may end up going to Swarga. He raises the question like that. Then he defeats that point, saying that, no, that is not so. I'll read the whole translation. You have said that the fame of Lord is supunya. This means by hearing about the Lord, one goes to Swarga. He says, no, that is not so. The ears are like cupped hands for hearing, for drinking the water of the best holy place, fame personified, which is nectar for the ears of the devotees. So it is like this, when there is some real nectar, what do you try to hold it in your hand? So similarly, this transcendental message, when it is being poured, the ears are used like the cupped hands. So you hear this transcendental message. So he says that performing even achamana with this nectar, what to speak of drinking it, taking it just once, what to speak of many times, one destroys ignorance, the impressions of karma. Even though the Lord is not present, must by hearing his glories one crosses samsara. So that's the whole point, right? So you may say that, for Arjuna, Krishna was personally present. But the Lord is present in the form of Bhagavatam. The Lord is present in the form of holy name. The Lord is present wherever the devotees are gathering together. So there is no loss for us. So we should not use our crooked mentality. Prabhuji, in this verse it is said that even once you hear it is enough. Like they extrapolate this verse, Like Krishna says, what is that? Neha vikrama nashosti pratyavayona vidyate swalpam apyasi dharmasya trayate mahato. I remember very well. Whenever this verse comes, I just remember one of my friend devotee. No, he said that, I said he was practicing Krishna consciousness for some years. For whatever reason, he left it. Then I met him in the highway somewhere, in Chennai. Then I asked him, hey, what happened? Why you are not going? He said, he quoted me this verse. I already did. That's enough for me. So we should not misunderstand this. We should take it the other way around, as it is being pointed out. Even once if you hear all the karma, all the sinful desires, proclivities is vanquished, then take it up more. Take more. Take it up. You take up this process. Give yourself. So when Srila Prabhupada was asked, if you by chanting, where does this chanting leads to? More chanting. Bhakti leads to more bhakti. That if we are in that attitude, that means we are in the right process. Not that we should become stagnant. Now I have come to the Hare Krishna movement. I have taken initiation. Bas, enough. Now let me settle down. If the whole concept of settle down idea comes to us, that's not very good. That's not really good for progressing devotees. Okay, just one last letter. Prabhupada's, how much he gave instruction. I just read that and conclude this verse. Srila Prabhupada once, one of the devotees had difficulties. He was having, he saw there are so many devotees were leaving the movement, and then there were some seniors, they were being attracted to materialistic things. So he was very concerned, and he wrote a letter to Prabhupada asking what to do. I am feeling little morose, or what to do. It's a long letter, so many questions he had asked. From that one small section, I just copied here to see how Prabhupada, the advice that he gave. So when this devotee was going through several difficulties, Prabhupada was very sympathetic to hearing his difficulties, and then he gave a very specific instruction of the very long letter. I said just took a small caption. So Prabhupada says, Prabhupada was very sympathetic to Shrutadeva's difficulties, but his reply made it clear that each of us have to take responsibility for his or her own life. So don't blame others that I am having this problem, that problem. We have to take our own responsibility. As our Guru, he can give us the facility for making advancement, but it is up to us to take advantage of it. This is the whole point. So the Guru is helping us by giving us the movement, is giving us the association of devotees, is arranging programs. Devotees are there to help, but it is up to us to come and then make use of the great opportunity that we have got. So Prabhupada further continues in the letter. He says, if you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, he replied, you will have to develop firm faith in Guru and Shastra. Therefore, you must study my books very scrutinizingly, follow the 4 regulative principles very strictly, and chant 16 rounds daily, avoiding the 10 offenses. Everything is summed in this verse, in this letter. Don't take this movement as something cheap. So this is the entire essence. So we have the process given by Srila Prabhupada. We have to take it seriously, and we have the opportunity, and all auspiciousness will happen to us. There is no doubt about that. And in this way, we will be able to be part of the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So there is so many visions Srila Prabhupada had, and if we stick to what Srila Prabhupada has given us, we will be instruments in Srila Prabhupada's service. So sorry for the extra time, 10 minutes I took extra. We'll stop here. If you have any questions or comments, are welcome. Any questions, comments? Yes? So the question is that it is mentioned here the glories of hearing the Bhagavatam once or hearing the holy name once, one becomes purified. But then we see that we are practicing Krishna consciousness. So we have been going on, but after some time one bloops or is not able to take up, he gives it up. How do we understand? So it is very clear from just from this very process that the process works. When we take up Krishna consciousness sincerely, and then we follow the rules and regulations given by our acharyas, strictly we follow the principles, there is never a case, as His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj used to explain, that you can never see a person leaving Krishna consciousness because he has followed the principles very strictly. When somebody follows it very strictly, you cannot see the person leaving Krishna consciousness. Rather the other way around, when somebody is loose, because you see in this letter what we read just now, Prabhupada said that don't take this movement very cheap. So in the beginning we may follow sincerely, but then after some time, like familiarity breeds contempt. Everything becomes casual, japa becomes casual, coming for classes become casual, we don't see Vaishnavas properly, we don't take the instructions given by the Guru properly, then everything becomes diluted. Then what happens? We end up committing offenses. It could be a Nama Aparad, it could be a Seva Aparad, it could be a Dama Aparad, it could be a Vaishnava Aparad. Then our Bhakti Lata, Bij, the seed of devotional service, which is supposed to sprout, which should be protected carefully, it gets damaged. So then all kinds of problems begin. So again, it is certainly on one hand, it's a fact that even one gives sincere oral reception, he becomes so much progress he makes. Well, we can see with our own eyes that those whoever gave sincere oral reception, we can say that the path is open for them. They are able to make progress. And then there are other things, as we heard yesterday, right, from Adho Shraddha to Prema. From Shraddha to Prema, there is a process, it's a scientific process we follow. So we need to stick to the words of the acharyas, hold on to it, follow it with patience, enthusiasm, and determination, following the footsteps of as Srila Rupa Goswami says, following in the footsteps of the previous acharyas, then we can make steady progress. Otherwise, we should not be surprised. Somebody is practicing for 15 years, 20 years, whatever, 25 years. Oh, what happened? This so-called personality left it's unfortunate, but then we understand that somewhere down the line, somewhere the process of deviation has started. We were hearing recently that Maharaj explained that the process of introspection, it is very much required. Every day we should introspect. In fact, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he points out that every Ekadasi, like that, you have to introspect. Where am I heading to? Am I chanting? Am I reading? Am I hearing? Am I doing proper service? Am I respecting the Vaishnavas? Am I following what is being given to me? So we should have this. When we are introspecting, then we may think, oh, something is going wrong. Or some Vaishnavas point out that, hey, this is wrong what you are doing. Then we thank them, we help them, we try to understand and serve them. Then if you are puffed up, I'm okay, who are you to comment on me? All those things, it's a very bad sign. So somewhere we are going wrong. So that should be the criteria with which we check ourselves. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.